What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Life's a Dance podcast. I am your host, Trey Culata. Thank you, as always, for pressing play and taking time out of your busy schedule to spend time with me so that we can all kind of unwire what's going on in our crazy brains, untangle it, deconstruct it, distill it down, and figure out how we can be more amazing human beings, more happy, more joyous, and more authentic as we go through the day-to-day of our lives. Today's episode, I hope, is thought-provoking and kind of tickles your curiosity a little bit because I conducted what I'm going to call the quiet experiment last night with my kids, and it was successful. And so now I'm going to explain what happened and see if it's something that you could benefit from by experimenting in your life. So let me start at the beginning, because the idea for this experiment came from not only a friend who posted something on TikTok about this, but also a recent book that I've been reading called The 4-Season Solution. I'm going to hold it up so that you guys can see it. It's by Dallas Hartwig, for those of you who are watching me on YouTube anyway. And Dallas Hartwig also wrote, he's a #1 New York Times bestselling author, and he also wrote The Whole30. And it starts with food. A lot of you are already familiar with the Whole30 diet. And this book in particular talks about how we need to start approaching our lives from a holistic approach and a rhythmic approach. So just like the seasons are constantly, happening around us, as anatomical human beings, our biology is hardwired to change with the seasons. Our psychology is and physiology is hardwired to change with the seasons. But because of the modernization of our world, a lot of us are living in a constant state of what he calls constant summer, where it's on, all the time, up late, waking up early, staying up late, too much light, fabricated light, not natural light, which is another issue. And then not enough, too much social connection and not deep, meaningful social connection, just the kind of fleeting, surface level type of connections that we do via social media with a like or a heart, and text messaging and things like that. Not like that true face-to-face connection. And this TikTok that my friend posted the other day, because he's getting into, motivational leadership type stuff through his channel, he mentioned something about, he asked a really poignant question. It was like, are you truly spending time with your significant other when you guys are in the same room, or are you just in the same room together at the same time? And as somebody who feels like I might be going through something like this with my spouse right now, I feel like we're not really getting those deep inner connections. I had to stop and pause. And same thing with my kids. I was like, we're oftentimes in the same room together, and quality time just happens to be my love language. So obviously this is, going to resonate with me, this question. And I'm like, we're in the same room together, but we're not really spending time together. Ember's on her tablet. Mia's on her phone. I'm watching a television show on Netflix, or on my computer, on my laptop. Like, we're in close proximity, but we're not connecting. And yes, given the constraints of the things that everybody has to get done in a day, we can't constantly be connecting all the time. But according to Dallas Hartwig and this book, The 4-Season Solution, we have to create those moments, and we have to create and carve out that time. So especially when we head into like the fall and the winter months, when just the seasonality of our environment almost dictates that we have to be in closer proximity to one another more often, are we truly capitalizing on those opportunities to connect with the people who are closest with us? Or are we just kind of humdrumming it through the day? So I did a little experiment, and I got some positive results. So last night, the girls and I were doing our various things on our various devices, and it got to be about 9 o'clock. And I said, you know what? Rather than completely shutting off everything, like the television and all the lights and all that, because in the book it also talks about how like we need to adjust our sleep patterns and everything to those of like, you know, in the winter it's got to be shorter and going to bed earlier, waking up later, that kind of thing. Whereas in the summertime, you know, we can stay up later, basically awake and asleep with the motions and the cycles of the sun. So I said, okay, I'm not going to just deliberately pull the plug on everything, like to where we're just sitting in the quiet. But I was like, I'm going to turn some music on. And Mia, you're already done with your homework? Great. Let's get off the phone. Let's shut the computer. We're just going to hang out. You can color, you can read, you can do anything else you want, but you can't be on a device. Same thing with Ember. She was playing a game, I think, on her tablet. And I'm like, shut it down. It's 9 o'clock. It's too late. We're not going to go, we're not going to be on devices until we go to bed. That's because there's a lot of research and studies that support that keeping your devices on or looking at blue light specifically from your phone or television or anything of the like right up until the time that you go to bed disrupts the quality of your sleep. So I'm like, okay, let's spend an hour and let's wind down. Girls are like, why are we doing this? How come the TV, Ember even was like, how come the TV's not on? I was like, well, because I want to try an experiment and try a new thing where we just kind of hang out for the last hour of our day without any devices, me included. I'm not looking at my phone. I did have the TV on with music on, and then Mia suggested, because she doesn't really like music, she's an old lady trapped in a 11-year-old's body, she suggested that we put on like fire crackling noises and like environmental, nature sounds. So I found, rain and fire crackling thing. We put it on. And at first we're just kind of all sitting there a little bit quiet, adjusting. And I physically felt my body like retaliating against this idea. I was just kind of laying on the couch, attempting to relax, but the I guess cortisol producing parts of my brain were like, I'm not used to this. This does not compute. How come we're not watching TV until bedtime? How come I'm not being distracted right now by something external? And like having to sit here with my own thoughts and sit here with other people in their own thoughts. So, Ember busted out a book and Mia was doing some kind of drawing. And I'm just laying there. And because of all the work that I've done over the past couple of years, in terms of like my internal, the way that I talk to myself, the way that I listen to the way that I talk to myself, I said, okay, this is literally just like an immediate knee-jerk reaction to doing something differently than your body and your subconscious mind are used to. And I kind of had to laugh because I'm like, isn't it crazy that you can't just sit down in the quiet and it be okay? Like your body and your mind are always going to be like seeking out some other external stimulation in order to feel relaxed, which is kind of counterintuitive if you think about it. Like if we're being stimulated, we can't be relaxed, but we think that we're being relaxed because we're so used to being stimulated all the time that we have to, that's the way that we shut our brains off. And it's so bass-ackwards. So anyway, side note on some observations that I had as I was getting into the beginning of this experiment, right? So, and this is something now that I'm going to implement every night because it went so well. Because what ended up happening was the girls and I actually started talking to one another. I don't even know what exactly we were talking about, but like I think we were talking a lot about school and like how things were like when I was in school and why do we have to do the hard things and why is it hard for some people to do school and easier for others and all these different things. So anyway, like we're having kind of these like meaningful, deep conversations, and all I did was shut the friggin' TV off. And my daughter even mentioned when she came out of her room, like, how come the TV's not on? Like, because it's that background kind of humming distraction that for whatever reason, we have grown so accustomed to that it feels awkward to not have some kind of something in the background distracting our thoughts and distracting us from truly connecting with the people around us, which is, it's crazy. So yeah, we end up having these like really awesome conversations where we're hanging out for an hour and there are no devices. Nobody's checking anything. Nobody's heads down. Everybody's kind of fully engaged in what the other person is saying and what their opinion is and their input. And, we're sharing little stories and I'm getting to know a little bit more about the things that go on during their day and the interactions that they have at school. And it's very enriching. So my challenge for you, whether it's with your kids or your spouse or your partner, if you're looking, because it's important for us as humans to feel a connection to the other people in our tribe on a cellular, like DNA level. It is ingrained in us to feel belonging. And how is it that we've gotten to this point where we are so connected to so many people in all at once and in an instant, but yet we're so disconnected from the people that sit right freaking next to us every single day? You can sit across the dinner table from someone and not even have a conversation and just sit in silence. And it's like, but the TV's got to be on in the background or the phones are right there in your right hand. I'm like, and you're scrolling. And I mean, I don't allow devices at the dinner table, but whatever. I mean, a lot of people do. So conduct the experiment. I did it. It went well. And now I think I got to push myself to do it with my husband because we have been kind of in this living two separate lives under the same roof thing for the past year. And there's some backstory and some reasons why I think we're trying to reconnect because he was working out of town for the better part of the year. So, I think we're going through an adjustment period of like, I was so used to not having him at the house all the time. He was so used to being gone all the time. So, and we both probably developed some bad habits around that. So I'm going to experiment with it and I will tell you how it goes because to my friend's point, are you spending quality time with someone or are you just with somebody in the same room at the same time? Not connecting. And I think that's a very important distinction to make no matter what the relationship might be. Because when we feel those deep connections with the people around us, it intrinsically gives our life more joy and more meaning. Okay, that's going to do it for today, guys. I love you all so much. If you got anything out of this, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, or shared with somebody else like-minded. Let's spread the joy. Let's spread the love. Let's spread the prosperity. And let's not forget to dance. All right, guys. Till next time.